All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Ancient Magus Bride.
Episode 12.
Yeah.
So, Chise is returning to Elias with something important to tell him.
Yeah.
But...
And this shoujo might go a little bit...
Well, no, I don't think so. I think, if
No?
anything, there will be some good conflict when she goes back because...
She knows things.
She knows things, right. And there are things that need to be discussed.
And he has a couple of things that hint at him not necessarily having a warm reception because he killed the bird, or the bird is dead, or whatever that means.
And that was kind of unclear, but like...
Yeah, but it might mean something. And also the fire was out.
Right. And, yeah.
Symbolism.
Right.
Yeah, and if anything, Elias and Chise have not had a legitimate, like, argument. Like, a legitimate, like...
Right, because Chise hasn't really stood up for herself enough to argue with Elias.
Right, and Elias doesn't know how to communicate well at all, so he just assumes she'll just go along with whatever he's...
Right.
You know, whatever he's put as the setting, so...
Exactly. So this is where they could really actually progress a lot and become, you know, more equals if things go well.
Right.
If they don't, who knows?
It'll be interesting then. I think it could go through everything smoothly with no melodrama, but it'll be interesting either way because no melodrama means something else entirely. Yeah.
Right.
All right, guys. Without further ado, let's get into this episode and see what happens.
Elias.
Oh, someone's dreaming about Elias.
寝てた。できてた。
See, it's more like a cane.
本来ならば
It's the best way to do
こういう
things.
ことはエインズワースが教えるべきなんだ。何年経ってもスキーは下手だしスープも焦がす。力加減も覚えんしヒスラ満足に扱えんし。知性の方がよほど覚えが良くて器用だ。
Yeah, the
そも
Phoenix
そも
Man hunter.
Oh, and it's a bird. It's a bird, Caleb.
Yeah. Robin.
Well, okay.
Robin.
Yeah, but still. Man, his singing is amazing.
It is.
Oh man, I need to find this song and just repeat.
All the passed away dragons.
Oh yes.
It's like their voices are joining with his. Yeah.
I love how they're making us love dragons on their own merit. Like, because anytime they go to the land of the dragons, it's just awesome.
Whoa.
Wow. I love how they synced that with the music. That was amazing.
That was fantastic. Now suddenly the gems look a lot like her eyes. Not as blue as they were before.
Yeah.
少しよそいに回させてもらった。
Wow.
Okay.
What? Okay. Just seeing her swinging from a rope, I went a little bit morbid.
久しぶりだね。
Okay.
小さな魔法使い。
あなたは
Oh, Nevin! It's Uncle
No way.
Nevin! It's Uncle Nevin! Oh!
私の枝を杖にしてくれて
Oh,
あり
right,
がとう。
yeah. That's why she didn't choose the wood.
大事に使います。
決して交わらぬ者が工作を許される道。
Oh, I like this. I like this a lot.
君はいつも浮かない顔をしているね、知性。
Yeah.
どうかな。ここは老いぼれしかいない。独り言でも吐き出してみては。
いつ放り出されてもいいやって思ってたはずで。だから頼らないようにしてて。あの人が私のことどうとも思ってないから安心できて家族だって見せかけでも言ってくれたから。でもいつの間にかエリアスがあの人が話してくれないのが不満になって寂しくて怖くていつ放り出されても諦められたはずなのに。
独り言に返すのは無粋なんだけどね。
But I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
君のエリアスは突然に君を放り出すなんてことをする人なのかい？ そんなことを言ったりしたのかい？知性が恐れることが一度だって起こったことが
Well,
なら天が落っこちる心配をするようなことは
今は良くても気が変わるかもしれない。
worrying about him eating
私なんか
her.
すぐ飽きられるかもしれない。あの人もいら
yeah.
なくなったらきっと。
私も独り言を話そうか。私は知性の母君と父君に感謝をしている。どうしてそのまま知性を手にかけなかった？
Yeah.
産まなければよかったと泣いておいて、どうして己を絶ったんだろう。
Wow.
そんな
私は知性が来てくれたおかげで最後に空を飛べた。知性のおかげで救われた人や獣たちがいた。己をホイホイと捨てられるものみたいな、そんな風に低く見るということは、君に救われた我々をどうでもいいものと言ってるのと同じだよ。
そんなこと。
Go Nevin, go.
そうしようと思ってやったわけでもないのに。
たとえそうでもね、ほんのわずかな言葉や手のひらが誰かを救うこともあるん
So
だよ。
true.
君に己を誇ってほしいと思っている。誰かに手を差し伸べることができた君自身を、
Oh.
そしてそんな君を残した母君と父君に
ネビ
名を呼んでくれるのかい？ありがとう、アトリ知性。君は自由だ。君が呪いを抱えて生きても、その末にいつか落ちても、すべては君の自由なんだ。君自身がどうしたいかを考えて
Oh
ほしい。
boy, oh boy.
Oh, this is so good.
君はどこにでも行けるんだ。
ネビ。
しばしのお別れだ。
チセチセぼーっとしておったようだが大丈夫？
Okay.
Oh man.
会いました。エリアスに伝えたいことがあるので、
Getting her stuff.
Yep.
どこにでも行ける。すべてはつながっている。
Whoa. Holy crap.
She doesn't need the dragon.
No. Miracles, man.
Yeah.
あの人のところへつないで。
Oh, that's symbolic.
Yep. Yes!
Is it happening
I
now?
think it's happening. It's happening.
Oh.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yes. Yeah.
It's a rendition of the opening.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, but like.
Because she's coming to her own.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
oh, yada yada.
娘と思っていたが、もしかすると
Oh! She
Oh
flies!
yeah.
She flies!
Yeah.
Oh!
This right here.
Oh my god.
Wow. Oh yeah. Oh
Yes. Yes, all of the yes. This is so beautiful. Watashi wa koko. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to discuss this. Whoa.
With Nevin, she's flying.
This is the continuation of the song, meaning she's finally become.
That is awesome.
Oh.
Her hair is literally fire.
And dive. Oh. Yeah.
And this is like, wait, what? I heard it was cold without me.
Yeah. Yeah.
知性。
本当はエリアスみたく帰ってくるはずだったんですけど、妖精たちが 杖ができたから早く帰ろうと思ってちゃんと助けてもらって魔法を使いました。ほらちゃんとリンデルさんにも仕上げをしてもらって。
おかえりチセ。
ただいま帰りましたエリアス。
やっぱり
Yeah, he's like, and there it is.
どれだけあると思ってるのさ。魔法で飛ぶなんてバカにも程があるよ。
バカ。杖もあるし大丈夫かと。
There's something I
言
need
い
to
た
tell
い
you
こ
though.
とが。
Oh, that's adorable.
ぬくいな。
Yeah. Yeah. The doggy.
お母さん、お母さん、怖いのがいる。
そうね。
大丈夫。お父さんがいれば寄ってこない。
そう言ってあなた最初は腰抜かしたじゃないの。
うるせえ。
チセはもうお姉ちゃんだからできるよね。偉いねチセ。
お母さん泣いてなかった。
Yeah.
怒ってもなかった。
They're like the slave baby is awoken.
チセ。
ルツ、おはよう。
ああ、大変だな。早く散らばってくれないと追いかけたくなる。
Oh, the doggy
悪
is
くない
pushing
夢
up.
を見ていたみたいだ。
Oh, he's such a good doggy.
おはよう。
おはようございます、エリアス。
2日で目が覚めてくれて助かったよ。
Ha!
Just 2
これは
days.
毛刈りの時期だ。
Oh, shearing season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
だけど
Oh.
今は
Oh, that's awesome.
チセ。
I wonder if he bears some of her magical burdens as well. So she,
yeah.
So he's like
He's
starving.
おいしい。
Oh,
Alright.
okay. This might be one of my
So-
favorite episodes of Ancient Magus Bride.
I think it's automatically my
ever.
favorite episode of Ancient Magus Bride
Well,
because we got Phoenix!
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix!
Awesome.
The flight of the Phoenix.
But the thing is that the Phoenix is the manifestation of what was really powerful
Right.
this episode, in that Chise is willing to move forward now,
Yeah,
not because she's completely reconciled with the past, but because she's accepted her present state.
Exactly, right. This is one of those things where the power development was not the character development, but they put it in parallel so that when she had her awesome flight through the sky ablaze, right, that was a representation of the development that had happened on the inside, right?
Can I show them?
No, because it's terrible. But
Like,
anyways,
Jacob painted something, and I
so
want to show
I love Phoenixes. They're like my favorite thing ever.
But
so
it feels
no,
like-
no.
Can I
It
show?
sucks. It
No,
sucks.
it's not bad. He made it like 7 years ago.
Yeah,
so
I made it a long.
You're a kid, but why not?
Fine.
It's a Phoenix.
Okay, fine.
It's a Phoenix.
I made this super long time ago, like when I was like.
But this
much
is just
younger.
how important Phoenixes are to
Right.
Jacob.
Yes, exactly. But
at
anyways,
this.
that
Look at
but,
this.
But that, yeah,
It's
but
not terrible. Shout out in the comments how awesome
well,
this is.
Anyways, but I absolutely love Phoenixes. I think they're awesome. You know, they're the symbolism behind them and everything like that. So the fact that this happened and that I was right, the opening was like building up towards it.
Eventually, it became pretty obvious.
Yeah,
because
but like
the whole opening was basically the season. Like it
Right.
showed it showed them chronologically.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
But like the visuals of that were just so cool. I loved the way that like she still had her hair, but then like there was just fire everywhere and like
Right, and then depending on where the wind was, it would reveal more of her hair.
Right,
because
exactly.
the fire would be being blown
back and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like visually, that whole thing was just amazing. Like
I want to rewatch that bit maybe like 25 times.
Anytime they go to the land of the freaking dragons,
Yeah.
there's something awesome that happens.
Oh my gosh! So
yeah.
the foreshadowing of having her fly with Nevin.
Yep.
Now capitulated with her literally
Flying
flying
with
with Nevin.
Nevin.
And
Yep,
I caught
yep.
your bit in there, and I was just like, please don't talk
This-
and
this
ruin
is-
this.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is too beautiful. We have
Right,
to like
I like
just
that.
take it in. It's so wonderful. And Nevin Nevin might be like my favorite side character now, just over everyone else, like
even Lyndall. And
everyone.
Now. Yeah.
Nevin has achieved like close to Iroh status in a lot of ways.
He's the anime grandpa, but he's also a dragon.
Right, exactly.
Like,
he's the Uncle Iroh dragon, basically. But the funny thing is that Iroh is called the Dragon of the West.
Yes.
So I just wanted to draw that connection there. I don't think that they were inspired by Avatar: The Last Airbender, but Nevin has such a patient wisdom about him that when he sees someone basically in that defunct kind of state, or that, unhealthy state, he's not necessarily trying to urgently save them.
Right.
He's there basically steady like a rock.
Yeah,
like
I love this because they're taking the idea of dragons and how awesome they are, right? And a lot of times when people think of dragons, they just go for like they're
majestic
huge,
fire breathers.
Yeah, and they're unstoppable killing machines and all that stuff. But there's also the idea that if they're really these ancient beings, then their words would almost be more powerful than their actions. And they did that so well here, because like, oh my gosh, it's just amazing. I love it so much. Like this show is making me love dragons, even though these dragons are nothing like traditional dragons, completely on their own merit. And if they did end up doing something where they, had to, lay waste to a countryside or whatever, I would be so completely like, yes, all right, because it's not just the fact that they can do these awesome things.
Right.
Not that I think that these dragons are, bad guys and would, kill tons of people, but it's just this whole thing was amazing.
Right.
So
and to be fair, it's a thing where they needed the build up of the previous episodes to make this work.
Right.
But those build up episodes lacked a little bit because this episode needed to happen. Essentially, the build-up ended up being a thing where if you don't know what's coming, they are kind of sacrificed a little bit on the altar of this amazing episode, which I'm totally okay with.
I would still say that the previous episode was an exceptional one. I'm
talking about the previous two episodes.
Right. Yeah, the episode before the last episode was probably the weaker of the three, but probably because it didn't have one of those like magical moments like with Lyndall singing.
Yes, but it has Elias's backstory, which I think is really good.
That's true.
But the thing about this episode, and what I'm really glad is it reminded us who the main character is.
Yes.
And particularly it seems to be aware of a lot of the things that would be going through someone's mind if they were in Chise's position.
Yep.
And I feel like Chise's character gets more and more believable the more and more the show goes on. Right. Because one of the things I think that you could go and look at this show in maybe the first 3 episodes is you go, I don't really relate to Chise.
Yeah,
and she's in such a very unique position.
Exactly.
It's not a healthy one. And it's not even one that you could go, I want to self-insert myself into this character in any way.
Yeah.
So... And Elias is a monster, basically, and with the gentleman's kind of acumen in some ways, but...
Right, but no, I totally get what you're saying, and especially with the setup that they did of it, whether you're talking Beauty and the Beast or Phantom of the Opera, in both of those situations, you don't want to be there any kind of, like, dysfunctional aspects to the relationship between the two main leads, right? If you want it to end well.
I mean, you can have that be a temporary bit for good melodrama.
Well, yeah, exactly. And they set up Chise to be in a very dysfunctional state at the beginning, understandably so.
Because of what happened.
Yeah. And in other cases that might have put me off and made me think like, oh no, is this going to be like some cringy like
Twilight story
or something, right?
Yeah.
But they were very aware of like, no, we are intentionally setting up this thing that is very much a problem in a point of conflict that is going to be addressed over the course of the show, and in fact it's going to be the main point of conflict.
Yes.
And the resolution to that conflict is going to be
glorious. And I think that this is an important step in that that conflict in that bit of Chise's development. But I don't think this is the final nail in the coffin. I like that this is a powerful display of Chise's choice.
Right.
And this is something that they've talked or at least we've talked about a huge portion in our discussion, is Chise's agency.
Right.
It's Chise's ability to choose increases with her ability to be have more self-acceptance. So as she comes to terms with who she is, her own value, and how important basically all these people are to her growth, she's able to make choices like these where she just decides instinctively, I'm going to be free.
Right.
And it's the most powerful display of freedom is flying, like in terms of like fantasy stuff. Anytime a character flies, you're just like, I feel it. Like it resonates somewhere deep.
And there's also the idea of with fire, the idea of life, something that
very true.
Avatar: The Last Airbender went into a bit. So the idea that she is flying and on fire. It's like she is not only alive, but she is free.
You could say, "This girl is on fire."
Well, I was actually going to
my singing voice.
I was going to make a reference to a different song.
So nice.
All right. Now, some people might hate me for saying this because this song got overplayed to the umpteenth degree and made people sick of it.
Yep.
But it's actually an amazing song, an amazing moment in the story. But this is basically "Let It Go" from Frozen.
Yeah.
Like someone that is down on themselves, doesn't, thinks everything's like their fault or whatever, and doesn't stick up for themselves.
Yep.
And then they end up having this awesome display, transformation with this awesome power display while they're by themselves, and as they basically declare and realize, I am my own person, I am free.
Right.
And then,
And this is something that I think there could be people that critique the show for its portrayal of Chise as being too submissive or something like that, for enforcing some kind of gender stereotypes or what have you. This is really powerful because she knows that she was getting too overly dependent on Elias, Yeah. And that's why when Angelica brought it up a while back, she was, a little bit touchy about that. Because it's like, I don't want to think about that right now.
Yeah.
But in this, she's choosing Elias.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think could provide some good conflict in the future. But I think also it's something to completely throw out the whole, submissive Chise kind of thing. In that she will probably have her tendencies. Patterns are hard to break.
Exactly. This is like the Todoroki moment where it's like, even though there's this point of change, that's not going to be a complete 180 just because of...
Right. But now she, fully aware of not only her pain, but of how that pain has shaped her up until this point, she then chose to go back to Elias. And more so, she chose to come back, signifying that choice made her free.
Right.
Because in a strange way, her being given the wand is very signifying with kind of the stereotypical kind of male hero's journey thing where you're given the sword of Excalibur and something like this, and now you're set on your mighty quest. But in this case, she's choosing to go home. Which is huge because it is the coming full circle hero's journey bit, but it's also something of where she's choosing that the conflict is over.
Right. It's a coming of age thing as well because one of the things that I really like about this conflict is this kind of conflict that Chise's had over the course of the show. It would be a little bit harder to buy if she was, say, 10 years older, right? Because you would assume that they've sort of worked through this kind of stuff by now.
Right. Yeah.
But because she's so young, it's like, yes, it absolutely makes sense that she would be having this kind of conflict, and the fact that she's now coming into her own, it makes it just fit that much better. And the fact that she has a wand, and not only that she has a wand, but it's a cane-style wand, looking very much like Elias's, shows that they are now, getting to that point of being on equal footing.
Right. And not only that, it's another way of how something that I just get a little symbolic and this gets me a little emotional, but like you mentioned the cane, I think, in the previous episode.
Yeah.
And I kind of rejected it because I didn't like the visual of her needing another crutch.
Oh.
And in my head, I thought, oh man, they're gonna make it a cane. I think I'll have to just roll with it. But then I immediately realized when they coated it in her hair, the red hair which connects her to her mother, she is literally making the visualization of her maintain
become her power. Yeah.
And then the crutch, which then should have kept her hunched and low to the ground,
actually takes her into the sky.
Takes her into the sky and allows her to fly. And I just wanted to cry because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good.
I almost get the feeling this entire story may have started when basically
someone came up with this scene. As a capitulation for a character's development.
Exactly. And then
so Chise probably came up as a character pretty early, though, before this scene. Same with probably Elias.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if they basically said, I want to have a phoenix flying, as like a person flying as a phoenix, and to have that be the capitulation of their development.
I think that's a great point, but I think you're projecting a little bit. I think that's what you would have done if you were writing this story.
Yeah, probably.
He really loves phoenixes,
guys.
I
really like phoenixes. Like, I like dragons, but phoenixes are even cooler.
Oh, man. But the thing is that this episode wasn't like the Nevin Dragonflight episode.
Oh, not at all.
Because that one was sad in the standpoint of the beauty of moving on, and this is not moving on. This is staying present, but this is
moving forward.
It's moving forward, but it's not in the sense of moving forward with like you're looking to the future and you're coming to like realize it. It's you're actually taking the past and you're using that as basically a stepping stone to launch yourself forward.
Right.
And then you move into the future by the extent of moving forward. But if anything, Chise came fully present this episode more than she has before, because she's been stuck in the past for all this time, notably so. She's been worried about the future, notably so. And it makes sense for both of these things. But in this, she realized her present. And I think that the symbolism here is so multi-layered that I could see it being a very easy thing to just stop at one layer and go, okay, that's what the Phoenix means. But there's so much depth to this. I'd say this is the quintessential moment in the show that it's all been building up to. So if you understate this episode at all, I could see you not really enjoying Ancient Magus Bride. But this episode means so much more than just what is actually in the content of the episode.
I just want to say it was a real treat seeing that happen, not just because of what it meant in the story, but also because, like, ever since I was a little kid, when I imagined, like, my favorite, like, my ideal power, right, that I would want to have, it's basically exactly that. Like, turning into a flaming phoenix and just going and flying. Like, so the fact that they had that happen, it was just like, there wasn't just the beauty of the moment and what it meant in the story. There was this incredible like nostalgia to it, because I'm like, yes, someone else out there gets how awesome it would be.
There's another aspect of this that I liked, that is the happy accident of the fact that she became a phoenix, because one, she's using a wand that was touched by, this basically came from a dragon, and dragons are fire breathers. But she also, when she, wanted to go to Elias, the things were starting off as green. If you notice the magic, the aura that came from it was green. But then she started to think about it a little bit, and I think what happened was there was this transition when he went to yellow, then to orange, and then the fire fairies came out. And the fire fairies, I think, by her drawing upon their magic, made her into a phoenix rather than whatever else she could have been. But I like that Chise's transformation wasn't because of a conscious decision. It was an instinctual decision, meaning that her desire was to go and be connected to Elias. Now, this is something I just wanted to bring up, is the idea of connection in this is symbolic more along the lines of the romantic side of things, because when two people come together, there's a connection, and she desires the connection. But what ends up actually happening is it just finds a way to bring her as fast as possible in the most brilliant display of her own freedom. Shows that in a way her making that decision of connection is one she makes freely, not out of a sense of dependency, or out of a sense of like needing Elias in order to continue forward. I like that this show is dancing around the whole topic of love by showing aspects of it and not having her just literally say I love you, because too many romantic things simplify the whole love thing down to one particular aspect of it.
And oftentimes they ended at that.
Yeah, true. And this looks like a story after, any kind of I love you statements are made.
Yep.
Which will hopefully continue on to have maybe, I don't know, at least more than one season.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
But this is big also. I liked the bit with Nevin being brought back into the story.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that was great.
This is them just acknowledging what aspects of their side stories are like the best. Anything to do with the dragons and Nevin and Lyndall.
Yeah.
And I mean, Angelica, praise her. Bless her. She's awesome. But she can't compare. She can't compare to Nevin. No, it's a little bit unfair.
It's I mean, she's not a dragon.
But Angelica's fantastic
yes,
as a side part there, and I liked her moments in there. But easily tier 1, anything to do with the dragons, Nevin, and then by extension, Lyndall's kind of there as well.
Right.
But when she came into I think it's the Forest of the Gods, the place that Lyndall was in as well. I think it makes sense that those would be the same place. It's just because there's a visual difference based on the person who goes in there.
Okay.
They see it differently.
Okay.
Because it seemed like those kind of, endless trees walking in different directions.
It did kind of seem like that. Yeah.
So she's there, and Nevin's there, and when his voice is heard for the first time, you get this just like, oh, it's Nevin. It's Nevin.
Well, for a split second, I was like, oh no, who's there? And then I'm like, oh, wait, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I took a little bit of a few seconds to realize it as well. But
and you're just like,
yes.
And okay, now since Chise is officially a phoenix, right?
Well, she's not a phoenix.
Well,
that was a spell.
Yeah. But
I know what you're saying.
Since they're doing the phoenix thing.
But this is the thing. I think a lot of people would get mad at us if we assume correctly. Chise is not a phoenix. She used magic. And took upon the aspect of that because mages can do miracles.
Right, and she's a slay baggy, so yeah, she can do all kinds of awesome stuff. But the point is that means their whole rebirth from the ashes thing, and because this episode totally was a rebirth in and of itself. But
yes,
that means
absolutely.
that we could get a bit more literal of when moving forward to break the whole 3-year time limit thing.
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
They don't have to. They could have it be Nicholas Sparks, with dragons. But
I know what you're saying. I want her to live as well.
So,
but the thing is that we don't have now any proper build up towards that. If anything, that plot line has been kind of shifted over to the side,
right?
Because it's in Elias's head. It's something that we need to find out once we get to know more about Elias
and the fact
and his motivations.
Right, and the fact that they're not addressing it right now probably means it's more of one of those end game things, which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But it is now thematically on the table with the whole Phoenix thing.
It is thematically on the table. I like that phrase. That makes a lot of sense. Yes, yeah. But I think this is them focusing more on Chise properly, and then when they give the focus back to Elias, then we'll, then we'll see.
I can't wait to see what they do next episode. Like this is, yeah.
Yeah, and I am properly judged this show, I think, a couple episodes ago, because I was thinking they were going to go a little bit more kind of Twilight-esque kind of romance. I think subconsciously I did, and it didn't really come out too much in the discussions, I think, but in my head I was thinking like, okay, well, now she's just going to, go back to Elias with... not a lot.
But they didn't do that. They're like, they're aware that people are going to be wondering, like, is this going to be one of those things? And they're like, no, we got you. Yeah, we got this.
Oh,
we know
man.
what we're doing. Yeah.
I'll bet you this is that episode where people are like, I can't wait till they get to, this episode. My gosh. Yeah. I gotta say, the thing about having this be the focal point for your main character's development, is not only really good, it's something to where I'm going to be measuring a lot of other shows as kind of those characters that in the beginning they seem a little bit docile, not that they're emotionless like a Kudere or anything like that, but they have that kind of the trauma aspect of their character where it's kind of had them shut down. And there's been a couple main characters where I've seen that be be an aspect of their character. But I've never seen them go into this level of transformation and kind of moving forward with their character's development.
Yeah,
in such a brilliant and spectacular way. This almost kind of takes a dump on all those other kind of stories with that aspect.
And I think one of the main reasons for that is because they made the main character be that type of person. A lot of times this kind of docile character or whatever that needs to come
it's
to
not
their
as
own and all that stuff.
compelling. Yeah.
It's not as compelling because usually they're a side character. Because
that's true.
when it comes right down to it, it's hard to have that be your main character because the main character should move the plot. And if you have someone that is docile and and doesn't have that great sense of agency at the beginning, you're going to have a tough time keeping people engaged in the story.
That's true.
Because they did the magic so well and the wonder of the world and everything, they were able to avoid that, right?
Right.
Until they had the time to properly address it.
Right.
Because the other thing that can happen is you rush it. and then the victory's not worth it. And they didn't and they certainly didn't do that here.
No.
So
not at
that
all.
was
all right. Well, this was great fun. I want to see
That
how
was so
how they'll
amazing.
continue this in how they can even have a good episode after this. Like, can anything in Ancient Magus Bride top this?
Yeah,
I
because
doubt it.
there's almost like that worry that happens because like when you have
We've
an episode,
peaked.
yeah, when you have an episode that's so good, you're like, this is it, and then like everything else. Not to say that there won't be good stuff afterwards, but there's always that thought in your mind of, but it'll just be trying to like recreate that same sort of awesome that you had in that one episode, and they'll never quite get there.
Yep.
But
I don't think they need to recreate this because it thematically doesn't make
shouldn't
sense
be.
to have it happen again.
Exactly right, because they already did it. Now they move forward from that. Yeah.
Right.
And because of the way they've set this all up, I'm not worried about that. Even though if this were a different show, I almost certainly would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, man, it's good stuff. Ancient Magus Bride.
episode.
Thanks for letting us watch this show.
Yeah,
with you guys. This is a lot of fun. And if you want to see the next episode's reaction, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access. You can also watch full-length reactions there, so you could watch the entire bit of our reaction to this. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.